Welcome to another episode of Mandy B's future favorite podcast, We Ain't Them. I am your host, Rasan, alongside my co-host,
Kev.
It's your girl, Ebs.
Before we get started today, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram, check us out on YouTube, check us out on all media platforms that we have to update. We're going to update them soon. We're getting to it. Guys, how are we doing today?
It's hot today.
It's 7 p.m. Friday. It's 95 degrees. I ain't got no nigga, and the nigga ain't got me.
Like what he said.
What he said, huh?
Like everything
I'm
Kevin
about to
said.
show my ass.
What? You ain't got what? You ain't got what now?
I ain't got no nigga. Ain't no nigga ain't got me.
I ain't talking to you.
Oh.
You agreeing with what now?
Well, who, me? No.
Huh?
Never. I didn't mean it that way.
You trying to have a...
Showing your ass. Showing your ass. All right. So, 2 episodes ago, me and Kevin, we were talking about a lot of things, especially like the first part. We were talking about how, like, in the community, like, you know, how people's partners react to like a scene, especially like the soca scene when you're dancing on your partner and things like that. And, you know, we went through a little back and forth, even though I don't believe I was necessarily wrong, but in hindsight, you know, Kevin had to make me had to realize the truth of the matter is that, like, yo, he's definitely not wrong. So which kind of leads into this episode where we talk about the Caribbean descendants. As far as Black people, last year our culture has our style of dancing. But recently, Nyla Blackman went on Joe Budden's podcast, and Joe Budden decided that he wanted to open his mouth in business that don't got nothing to fucking do with him.
And for those of you who don't know who Nyla Blackman is,
This is a very annoying artist.
Hey.
Sorry.
No, she's a her performance is polarizing. It splits the room. But she is a well-known Trinidadian soca artist, and yeah, like I said, her performance it split the room. It splits the room. There's some people who love her, and there's some people who think she sounds like a cat. Moving along.
Well, one of the main things that when she was on the podcast, they was talking about whining and is it appropriate to whine on someone.
But how she reached it. I remember how she reached there. Yeah. She kept doing skits with Queen's Flip, which is like, why? I just need to understand why she was there. They don't, like, I used to be an avid watcher of the Joe Budden podcast, but they rarely ever had guests. Mm-hmm. So how she reached there?
They started doing it more often as of late.
They started having artists and celebs on the, but still, even so, Nyla Blackman is a very weird pick.
Out of all soca artists?
It's not even so much out of, because even if they brought Marshall or Patrice or whomever.
Or even if we want to go Jamaican, we want to go Jamaican artists and say Shensia or Jada Kingdom.
Shensia makes more sense because she's mainstream already.
Yes.
I'm saying in terms of the demographic and the people that watch them.
It doesn't make sense. That makes sense.
Really doesn't make any sense. That was confusing to me. And it made sense, but it was still confusing because I saw her doing all these skits with Queen's Flip, and then I see her just on the podcast. It's like, why? But continue. That's besides the point.
All right. Well, it kind of leads to the question, which, you know, we always talk about. Do we think it's appropriate for our significant others to whine on other people?
So I believe during the podcast, they asked about that, right?
Yeah.
And she was like, no, like it's fine. It's part of our culture. It's just a wine. And I remember one of the guys, I don't know if it was Ice or Ish. I don't really know them like that. Oh, like he literally was like, you mean to tell me that if you're winding up on a guy and he gets an erection, the conversation went to erections. And he was like, you mean to tell me a soft booty on top of me, you don't expect me to react like that? And I think that's where the issue lies, because Nyla was like, well, no, if you get an erection, then you're taking it as something else. You know, it's a dance, you know? So I think that's where, and it's always been like that kind of thing when it comes to like in terms of the diaspora, in terms of the American community, African American community, and the Caribbean community, is just something they're just never gonna understand, you know. But I don't know.
I think it's weird that, and I'm gonna go right into it because I feel like we were probably gonna build on it, but I need to say this right away. I feel like it's bullshit that Americans like to do that, especially Black Americans. They like to do that. Meanwhile, Freaknik happens all the fucking time.
Freaknik hasn't happened in years.
They make their own version of Freaknik. Every American in the world make their own goddamn version of Freaknik. In New York, in Atlanta, in Houston, they make their own variation of it. It may not be Freaknik, but it is.
But are you arguing the morality or of the situation? Because African Americans' issue is not the morality of the dance itself. Well, maybe it is.
Yes, it is. It's literally
that's all it is. Actually,
that's all it is. Yeah.
The definition of it.
Because I'm thinking like they don't have a problem with us whining. It's the fact of whining up on somebody else if you're taken or if you're like, is that not the argument?
I just feel like when it comes in, that is the argument. So again, if you are in a relationship, like the question was, if you're in a relationship, should you be whining on someone?
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, I think that goes into what your relationship is. But what's the problem with whining on someone? I don't get it. If I come to rum and music, I come from my rum.
Yeah.
I come from my music, and I come from my wine. Like that's it. You know. Now, again, I think that a lot of people like to put a morality clause on it. You know, depending on how much of a wine is too much. You know, like and the stipulations on it that way. But again, I just feel like if you're from the Caribbean and you understand the culture, a wine is just a wine, you know?
Yeah.
We in a party, we're having a good time, you know what I mean? We're listening to the music, we're enjoying the vibes, and that's it. If I'm winding my waist, I'm winding my waist, that's fine. Now, if my partner is there, and now again, I have to speak from a different standpoint. You know what I mean? I can't speak on, you know, the heteronormative standpoint or whatever the case may be. But if me and my man is at a party and he winding up on someone, I'm there like, get it.
Yeah.
I don't think it means anything else, you know? If it goes to something else, you know what I mean? Then that was a conscious choice that you made to go to something else, you know? If you're just whining, you're having a good time, that's it. You enjoy your dance and then you walk off. That's what the whole party's about.
Exactly.
Vibes.
Exactly. I feel like what the African American community doesn't understand is it's not gonna mean anything unless you treat it what it's for.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a dance. It's not to mean anything. Sure, can you get a number off of whining on somebody whole night and stuff? That happens. But the main fact is it's just a dance. And the thing is, especially for those people, those individuals that date Caribbean people, I think it's just a matter of having a conversation. You know, I will say this from personal experience. I dated somebody in the past who was half Haitian and he was half something else. I ain't gonna get into that. But it wasn't Caribbean. And it kind of wasn't understood. I ain't gonna front. It was not understood. He was like, you're not dancing with nobody else. You just stay by me.
Because you're my sweetie baby.
Yeah, you're to stay by me. That's it. So it's like, hi, whatever. But I think it's a matter of just having that conversation. You know you're about to go to a fete or a party or whatever. Have the conversation with your partner. Like, hey, listen, I don't feel comfortable with you doing this. Or if you do this, what am I? Like, have the conversation. I think that's a problem. A lot of people don't like to communicate. People just like to you know, and it's like, just have the conversation. And just going back to my previous experience, coming from that situation and then starting to date like other people, dating Rasan and going to fetes with him, it was a breath of fresh air because it's like, that's what it's supposed to be. Like if another guy comes up behind me and he dances, that's all it means. That's all it is. You whine, you keep it pushing, and that's it. Same thing with him, you know, he'll have a little dance with somebody and it's like, it's cool, it's whatever. At first, yes, you're shaking your head because
that's a lie.
At first,
let me explain to you guys something. I am a saint. I don't do those kind of things.
Shut up.
I don't do those kind of things.
Shut up.
I don't whine on women.
I wish I had holy water to throw on you right now to watch your skin burn.
I am truly in love with my lovely fiance. I don't cause those kind of troubles for myself because, you know, that would be trouble at home because while we're driving home, I don't want to hear stories about it. I'm joking. No, in reality,
I was waiting.
Yeah, because I was confusion.
I'm definitely.
I was high confusion.
No. I'm joking. No, in reality, we have conversations. Like, we are Caribbean. We both are Caribbean children. We both come from Trinidadian backgrounds, so we understand what needs to be said doesn't need to be said necessarily, right? But if we feel uncomfortable about a situation, we have a discussion. Have we ever had that discussion? No.
Never had
we
to.
Don't, because we don't necessarily need to, mainly because we know what we're doing. Go, have fun, bring your ass back home. That's it.
Yeah, you go out to a fete without your partner. You understand what the boundaries are. Like, for me, I know for a fact I'm taken. So if I whine on somebody, it's just a whine. You ain't gonna be picking me up and all. Like, I don't want all of that. Like, I'm be honest. Like we could understand, but we can also not be willingly ignorant, right? That whole daggering on the floor, like, no. If you're single, do it. Who gives a fuck? It's your body, it's your life, whatever. But I understand I still have someone to go home to. And also, honestly, I'm gonna throw a curveball. Let me throw a curveball. Mm-hmm. Because I honestly, not only did I, like, for us, we whine on other people when we go to fetes. I've watched my parents do that. I'll be honest. Like, my dad will dance on another person or whatever, somebody coming behind my mom. It's like, it's not something that's frowned upon. It's just a dance. However, let me throw the curveball. I have been to fetes, primarily with older folks. I want to go big people party, period. If you know, you know. Those be the best ones. But you know how the Caribbean community is small and there's gossip? Uh-huh. After the fete, you will hear, yeah, see Trina whining up on da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, see this one. If you see how she holy man, and like, we be gossiping with it ourselves now. There be instances.
That's true.
Where people be doing stuff they're not supposed to be doing. But the main consensus, ladies and gentlemen, a dance is a dance is a dance. And like I said, for the African American community, I'm gonna be very honest with you. It's, if you keep looking at it as more than that, that's what it's gonna become. It's not. It's just a dance. If you don't feel comfortable with it, it's a personal preference. That's totally fine. That's totally fine, right? But we have to have some, I wouldn't say form of respect, but an understanding of each other's cultures. We're part of different parts of the world, even though we are all Black. We all seen as one race. We have different cultures, and there's a lot of things about the African community that as Caribbean people may not understand. And we gonna let y'all have y'all moment. It's what y'all want to do. Like, you know what I mean? I don't understand Sexy Red, but y'all like it. Enjoy. I don't, you know?
Yes, they want to bring up Sexy. Like, I just...
What do you mean?
Yes, they want to bring up Sexy.
But why? Okay.
I love
Kevin.
I love Sexy.
That's fine.
I love Sexy. Sexy's amazing.
Sure. But you know, she's into the twerking thing. And I'll even bring up the city girls, the twerking thing. Like, y'all do the twerking thing. Let y'all have y'all twerk. Pussy, let us have our wine.
Which is very interesting because, especially Black people, especially in the U.S., them niggas pop pussy like it's nobody goddamn business. God. But then want to talk about what's inappropriate and what's not. You guys pussy. You twerk on a Tuesday just cause, like,
not all. Not all. Because you know what the backlash will be, right?
I didn't say all. I just said you twerk on a Tuesday. If you want to twerk on a Tuesday, you twerk on a Tuesday.
Everybody has their nuances. And I think another thing where I feel like, okay, Nyla came there to just explain, but I feel like she still did us a disservice because what she failed to do was to explain the history behind the dances that we do, the history behind Carnival. Like, explain, like, it's not just, oh, we're just vulgar people and we just want to walk and spread our legs. And explain. You're from the country. You're representing a certain demographic. And on top of that, like I mentioned before, having you on that podcast was still very odd because they don't cater to Caribbean people. So if you're bringing that group of people to watch this podcast, at least, and then also speaking to a new demographic of people, help them to understand the history behind and the history behind the dances that we do and the history behind Carnival and why it's so festive and like bring awareness to it. Don't just say, oh, it's just a wine. It's just a dance. Because the wine too sweet. Like, I heard her say that. And I'm like, yes, the wine's sweet, but why? Like, where does it come from? Explain the origins. And I feel like she really did a disservice by just saying, oh, it's just a dance. The wine too sweet. Like, girl, there's more to it, you know?
I always find it funny that it always gets brought back to the Caribbean and the way that we dance, and we don't look at other cultures. Like, for example, like if you're doing a bachata with someone, if you're doing a compa, if you're doing
compa is considered Caribbean.
Yeah, it's Caribbean,
which is very sexy. Might I add,
very sexy,
very sexy.
But I'm saying, like, if we're looking at like the Spanish culture of it, right, and the dances that they do and whatever the case may be, right? Oh, that's just it's so romantic. It's this, it's that, it's whatever the case may be. However, we go into like as within the Hispanic culture, like, is it appropriate for you to go on ahead and tango or merengue or salsa with somebody else? You know what I mean? Like, we never get into that conversation.
Why y'all private parts so goddamn close? Why y'all chest to chest, body to body? Like, we could do that. We could do that, but we choose not to because everybody has their form of dancing. We can't we can't do our thing and then judge others. It's not fair because we know that dancing is an art. And sometimes that art is spread freely and we have to respect that.
Yeah, yeah. I will also say, if you're coming into our spaces, I feel like educate yourself. Understand that the environment is going to be different. Don't just come, and that's how.
Yo, that shit happens. Matter of fact, I got this.
Yeah.
Do you know what's funny?
Because I was gonna say something.
How Black Americans say that all the time, but then come Labor Day weekend, they
God,
all
don't do it.
Don't
do it.
Fuck it. I'm gonna say
don't fucking do it.
On the trucks, they jump in the barricade, and then they want to dance on the girls, and then fucking ooh, my favorite, fucking recording every little fucking thing, and then being fucking creeps. Which is the next thing that I want to really get into.
Choose your words, darling.
Carnival have people over-sexualized Carnival?
100%. Like, again, it's just like you're saying. It's Labor Day. You're out on the parkway, right? Everybody's, having a good time or whatnot. You jump in the fence. You want to get a wine. Okay, no problem. Now this girl's whining on you, but now you're taking it too far. Because you don't understand or respect the culture that's going on there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where the problem comes into. And we're not even talking about Carnival being over-sexualized. I just want to think about it's just Caribbean music, expression, everything that's so like that is over-sexualized. Because at that point, you don't understand what's happening here, so you take it too far. If we're going to look at the difference between, I guess, Black culture and Caribbean culture when it comes to dancing, I don't personally have any problem with somebody popping a pussy. If that's how you want to do, you pop that pussy. That's what you do, yeah. You know what I mean? It ain't no problem there. If you want to twerk, no problem. If you want to New Orleans bounce, no problem. Do what you want to do there. Like, I love that for you.
Shout out to Big Frida.
But again, where your dancing come from has a history behind it that people have to respect. Yeah. Now, again, same thing if I'm thinking about middle school, high school, we going to basement parties. You know what I mean?
We call it a dub. It was dub.
We on the wall, my hands up.
You know
trying to hold it. You know what I mean?
No. Your friends hold it back. Your friends hold you
back so you don't lose your balance.
Alright, cool. Like, that's what you do.
Man, them days used to be fun.
It ain't no problem. You know what I mean? And that's that. And then even there, you have a girl dancing on you, and when she done, she done. That's it. The problem is when the male ego gets into it, and it's like, nah, you mine, nah, come here, nah, I ain't done. That's the problem. Mm-hmm. That's the problem right there. You don't know when to chill out, respect, and just be like, yo, chill. She said, nah.
It's just a dance.
No means
no. That's another thing. You could tell. Let me choose my words very wisely.
Sometimes your wine is trash. And
no.
I know what she's saying.
My bad. I was going to say, sometimes the wine is trash.
I know exactly what she's saying.
Sometimes.
Do it.
The rejection. You could tell by how that person reacts to saying, no, thank you. You could fucking tell who's American and who's not. That's all I'm going to say. You could say who's Caribbean. You could tell who is Caribbean and who is not. If you, the way women reject a wine in a fete or even carnival, they could be dancing. You come up behind them, you stop.
They literally just stand up.
You stop?
They stand up or they move over.
Or you gently move away.
Yeah.
You could tell A Caribbean man will understand. Like, all right, let me wind up on another Bamsi. Let me find the next sweet thing.
The next sweet thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
Some of y'all don't understand. And like you said, the male ego is something else. You know? That's all I'm going to fucking say.
It's really sad when you think about it. Because I've seen that shit all too many times.
Yeah.
And I've actually experienced that. I've actually seen that happen one time.
Yeah.
Where like you like I really me and a couple other people's like me and my homeboy like that happened and this guy like was walking up to this girl and we literally like he got mad and we really had to like press him about that. Like because he was trying a little bit too hard and we had to pull him like we had to grab him on the side and be like, yo, she said no.
Yeah,
you need to
like
show the fuck out. Like you really gotta know like there's a difference. And like he was upset. He was upset, and he was
all
mad
this woman walking around, and you upset over one Bamsi. Boy, find something else. Just go to the next person. Like what? But you could tell. And
I've seen fights break out because of that shit. I've literally
for
seen,
real.
Yeah, I've
seen
seen fights break out because niggas don't understand their boundaries, and that's the one thing that niggas do, especially at fetes. Like sometimes niggas don't understand their boundaries. And when women say no, there are some like I know sometimes we have this thing about black men or Caribbean men, they don't defend women. Sometimes we have that a decent amount, which is true, but in especially in fetes, is one of those things that like it happens. Like they don't play with that. And
it's not just I would say it's not just African Americans because last year at my birthday, when we went to that Jamaican bashment thing in Bushwick.
Oh, yeah.
You remember what happened to that white girl?
I don't recall.
It's not just African American. You can't just, I won't just pin it on them. I will say, for anybody that's not Caribbean, you coming into our space, please do your research. Please ask your Caribbean friend. Please understand the history. Please understand the culture. There was a white young lady there. I don't know if she was white or Hispanic, but she could dance. But she danced like she part of what's the name of that movie?
Dancehall Queen.
Nah.
Oh, Step Up.
It was giving Step Up. Yes. Big beanie man playing and crocodile teeth playing and she
was giving Save It the Last Dance.
Yes.
Live your dream.
No. Julia Stiles, I don't know what she was doing. She was giving like Jessica Alba and Honey. She was giving those type of dances.
Listen, them moves was hitting. I don't care what you say.
We all thought so too.
Me too.
Listen, you gotta appreciate it. For the times, it was fine.
Yes.
For the time. As you get older, it's different.
Shorty was dancing like Jessica Alba and Honey. Big dancehall playing, big thing, and she, whatever, popping and locking. She was doing her thing. I wasn't mad at it. But I remember we were outside catching some fresh air because it was like an old school 90s basement, hot sweltering in the middle of July, hot ass weather. We're outside.
Wait, hold on. Before you continue that story, shout out to Joel and this goddamn blazer.
Joel and that blazer. Yo, my birthday was so fucking hot. And we were in this, like, it was like a basement vibe. Hot. Let me tell you, come out, Joel had on a whole blazer and would not take it off, bro.
That's like, right. If I put it the fuck on, I put it the fuck on.
I'm like, ma'am.
Yo, she was dedicated.
And look at Bad Suave with it, too. Anyway, but back to this woman, right? I remember we was outside. We were having a drink or whatever. And she comes like, oh, my God, this guy touched me. Oh, my God, he touched me. Oh, my God. And you know how Caribbean men are, right? I'm not saying that. Like when she said touched me, I'm thinking it was like a like sexual assault. Yeah. Like the way she was screaming about it. You don't remember that shit?
I do remember it, but also I was drinking, so I don't remember.
Yeah, she was like, ah! I'm guessing somebody must have danced up behind her and she like, dude, look around. Everybody. I guess she didn't want it, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't there.
Which is fair, because if you don't want it, you don't want it.
You don't want it.
But also, you can't be dramatic if something you don't. Because
everybody was looking like, girl, what going on here? And then I guess she went home, which was maybe for the best. Yeah. But, it's like I said, if you're non-Caribbean, you have to understand, everyone's culture is different. And you have a right to not want what you don't want. You can go to a fete. And let me make something very clear. You can go to a fete, and I keep saying fete. Fete means party, right? for those of you who don't know. You could go to a fete and not dance at all.
Yeah.
You could just go for the music.
You could just go for the music, for the drinks,
for
and
the DJ.
vibe. Yeah. Liming with your boys.
Yeah.
Liming means chill. You could do that. That's fine. I just feel like, you know, you're not obligated to dance with anyone. So you can understand that too. You come there, you enjoy yourself, have a good time, drink, enjoy everybody else getting a little wine, and that's it. You don't have to do anything if you don't want to.
You don't have to take phone numbers. You don't have to get phone numbers. You don't have to do anything.
You don't have to go home with nobody. Yo, just go enjoy the little ting-a-ling-a, and keep it pushing. Like,
but I think the point that you have created here is that, again, if there's a difference between a party and a fete.
Yeah.
So if you're going to like a regular party and you're looking to do whatever you do there, that's fine.
Yeah.
Going to a fete in our culture is something completely different. Has completely different set of rules, you know, has completely different vibes at that point. So understanding what a fete is not a regular party that you're used to. It's not the club, you know, at downtown New York or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
That it's not that. Like you're literally going, some people, you know, I got my table. I got my bottles, you know what I mean? I got my people around me, and I'm going to have a good time.
Yep.
Again, versus the party in the club where I had to get a section and all of this other stuff or whatever the case, completely different. So just understand that there's a party and there's a fete.
Yeah.
And just knowing the difference between that. And doing the research on that too.
Yeah, for real. And like I said, if you're in a relationship, have the conversation. Like, I know people bring up Chance the Rapper a lot. I don't know if that was the sole purpose. Right?
Oh, the him at Carnival and
you want to elaborate more on that for those who don't know?
We talked about it 2 weeks ago. We talked about it a couple episodes ago.
Oh, okay.
Where, you know, Chance was on video. He was whining on a girl at I think it was
Jamaica Carnival. It was Jamaica Carnival.
Jamaica?
It was.
Okay. So, yeah, he went, and then hours later, his wife posted something on Instagram. And again, it's different because, you know, they're American, you know, she's a Christian woman. So, you know, everything is a lot different for her. Her views is not going to be the same as others. And the problem that I can see is that they didn't communicate that.
They didn't have the conversation. And on top of that, Chance, you know you're a public figure. Come on, bruh.
You know that.
You're a public
let me tell you right now.
In Jamaica.
Yo, Chloe Bailey right now, she glad she ain't have no man because she going to Carnival
and she's having a time, and she looks a mix. Shout out to Chloe. Embracing our culture. And respectfully.
That's
you know,
the
the costumes wear well on you. I see you. You're not twerking because that's the thing. Americans come to the Caribbean to twerk.
No.
She's not. She's whining. I see the bubble.
And there's a difference because some people, because this is a big thing that happened recently. Like all the Love and Hip Hop cats, they like to go to Trinidad and just do Trinidad. The one thing that I will respect about Chloe Bailey is that she's
island hopping.
No, and she's not regular. Because the first one was at, what was it? St. Vincent?
No, I think she did BIM, no?
She did BIM.
She did BIM.
And then I think she was in St. Lucia recently.
She was just at St. Lucia.
She's not going to the most popularized one, which is like Trinidad. Like BIM is secondary.
Well, Chloe,
BIM is secondary.
Come to Trinidad, darling. We will accept you with open arms.
The way she's doing it, I can appreciate her for who she is and appreciating the culture, which is something you gotta really appreciate about somebody.
Yeah.
But since we're going to the culture thing, let's kind of talk about Carnival itself. Now, Labor Day weekend is coming up. Miami Carnival is coming up. But we're kind of at a standstill where we kind of... Does Carnival feel like Carnival anymore? Like, really, like, let's have this conversation. I don't necessarily feel like... I don't know. There's no... Like, being a Trinidadian child, going to Carnival, going to Caravana, going to different carnivals, I don't feel excited to go to Carnival anymore. It's the vibe, or is it the music, or is it the costumes kind of pretty much being the goddamn same? I don't feel it anymore.
For me, I haven't been to Carnival. I was blessed enough to go to 2020 Carnival. I'm year 2020, before the pandemic really. So I will say this. In the past years, from because 2021 was no carnival, so like
2023.
Around then, I'm seeing a lot of problems. For one, I'll start from me personally. Soca has not sounded very good to me in the past couple years. I think the last good year for Soca for me was 2021.
Okay.
That was the last time. When I went in 2020, Soca was on point. 2021, Soca was good because people had the material. People were talking about COVID. People were talking about all types of shit. People had the material. I just feel like there's a lack of creativity in Soca right now. I can't name one song that I actually have on repeat unless it's from like 2021. That's number one. Number two, I was watching from the sidelines all the other carnivals that have taken place, from Jamaica to all these things. I'm noticing a popularization. Not a popularization, I'm sorry. I'm noticing a slight decline in the quality of the costumes. I'm seeing a lot of people complaining, saying, oh, I spent literally my rent money for this costume and it's falling apart. I went to this fete where this is all inclusive. I paid so much money for it and I did not get A, B, and Z. All these events, people are going to these events these fetes surrounding the carnival itself. People fighting, people breaking down ting. Like, to me, that's where the decline lies. It's just like a mixture of everything, from the low quality of the costumes that people are paying so much for, to the promises being made by the band leaders, all these accommodations not happening, to just a matter of just the lack of creativity in the soca that I'm hearing. It's just not even fun anymore.
I'm glad you mentioned pandemic, right? Mm-hmm. So all these costume organizers and all that stuff, I'm sorry, you guys had 2 years
to get it together.
Like, and you still, how is it that you guys had these 2 years and you guys didn't think you need to prepare? Even if it would have been an extra year, you guys had 2 years. You could have came up with a bunch of ideas. You could have had everything on the sideline that was prepped and ready. I don't understand why you guys didn't prepare for that. And I'll say this from a person who has actually helped with creating costumes for Carnival. It's very surreal to look at how bad these shits look nowadays.
Yeah.
It's no heart, it's no effort. And most importantly, it's so last minute. You know you want to do things. You know you're an organizer. You know that you want to do these things in advance. You tell these people to buy their stuff in advance, buy their costumes in advance. You make these people pay this much money. I know how much, and let's be honest, I know how much y'all fucking really paying to make those goddamn costumes. It's definitely not that expensive. Mm-hmm. Y'all can say label all y'all want to, but it's definitely not that goddamn expensive. Mm. Y'all need to kind of get ahead of the curve. There's no reason why the night before y'all still doing costumes. That doesn't make much sense to me whatsoever. There's no reason that the week of, like, I get it when you have last minute things happen, but you should be at least a month ahead. Like, truly should be a month ahead, but you guys are not even y'all don't consider other people. Y'all only considering about y'all pockets.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. It's more greed than creativity.
Yeah, people are literally going to pick up their costumes and they're still in the back working on it, gluing shit together.
Gluing right in the back.
Gluing shit together. Like, what are y'all doing?
Y'all need to really start thinking this through. Like, y'all need to have a cutoff date and stop there. Mm-hmm. Y'all need to start, like, there should be budgets for everything, and y'all have to also realize, like, yo, if this is all we need, this is all we need. On top of that, another great example is, right, you have a line. You have your line. You have your multiple lines, right? You also have to realize, like, truck space, all that stuff, who's surrounding it and stuff like that. You have to be more realistic. You can't do 200-300 costumes around one fucking truck or 2 trucks. And this doesn't, it doesn't make sense.
Because if the thing is high in demand, that's where people are gonna go.
Yep.
People are gonna want to go to Tribe. People are gonna want to
and
go
it's
to.
nothing,
Also-
but that's nothing wrong.
But
with
people also gonna want to know, like, if I want a frontline costume, I want a frontline costume.
Exactly, and if I'm willing to pay for it, they're
If
gonna
I'm willing
take
to pay
the
for
money.
it, and I'm willing to be seen. If I want my wings, I want my
my
wings.
wings.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm saying is, as an owner, you kind of got to know your cutoff point, right? You got to be realistic. You can't always want to do that. Like, you can't always have that ability to just take everybody's money, especially if you know you have to be responsible and say, I can't do that. Because if you don't, guess what happens? Now you go on Raw reviews. Now people... Or
Not
you on,
Raw reviews.
You on Raw reviews, you on Follow Soca, and they just like trashing you. And on top of that, now you may have to give a refund. All because you wasn't smart enough to say, I have to know a limit, I have to know a cutoff time. That cutoff time is the month before an event happens. So if you're smart, right? Because they do this a lot, which is weird. Like how they do mass camps, right? There's no reason why you're doing a mass camp in June and your cutoff time is August 28th.
Yeah, my parents just went to a band launching event like 2 weeks ago.
That doesn't make sense. That is a bad business. When you do mass camps,
I don't know if it's for
What was
Labor.
that for? What carnival?
I have no idea. They didn't tell me.
And that's
if
another
it's Labor Day, that's crazy.
I'm not sure.
and that's the thing. Like when you do mass camps should be in June. May earliest, June. The first week of July is the latest. Because by the time you do that mass camp, everything should be open so that everybody can see your shit. By mid-August should be your cutoff time. Because by then, that's when you really start to have everything. A week ahead, you shouldn't have any problems.
Yeah.
Everything should be organized.
Yeah.
You should be good because I know that organizers want to have fun themselves. They did all this hard work.
Yeah.
But not every business is good business, and
Of course it
unfortunately, that is something that you learn or you figure out when you are finally going to Carnival. You know what I mean? You decide to play with a band, and you think like, okay, this is my section.
Yeah.
This is what it is, and then you realize not all business is good business. So again, the more that it's unfortunate that this is within the community. However, the more that you do play, is the more that you do realize like. This is where I'm going with. This is where I'm not going with. And you just got to figure out the business for yourself. And it sucks, but it is what it is. You live and you learn.
You live and you learn.
So real quick, Kevin, how long have you really, because this is not, you're more newer to the scene.
I am.
How recently have you been into the soca scene?
Recently I would say I came into the soca scene, I want to say like 2014.
Okay.
I really started the journey and then go into that. My first carnival was in 2017, and then I was just on Uber Soca this past year.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to wrap up with this. You've been in it for a while. It's been like about 10 years. Me and Ebony have known soca for all our lives.
You know, I was more compa, but you know, it's all good.
So to wrap up this episode, I want to ask you a question, and I want to ask everybody this question. What the hell happened to soca?
Boy, my take on this is that we cannot rely on Trinidad Carnival for soca for the year. There's so much more soca artists out there. There's so many different artists that are out here that are really putting out music. We can't just rely on, you know, the big 10 that we know just to call it a day. If we're talking about creativity, I agree. Like, I go back to like 2012 soca. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what?
That's when it was good.
You know,
what?
I go back to 2012 soca. Like, that's when music was hitting for me. These new artists that are coming out, it's like,
And it's more like, it kind of feels like soca nowadays, I don't care which country it's from, I'm be honest, it feels more like
dance hall.
It feels more like no. It just feels like a lot of dry humping. It feels like they're making it now more sexual.
I agree. They are making it more sexual. But again, if we're talking about the times that we're in, unfortunately, the term of sex sells really is going in and influencing what's happening, and it's really sad to me.
But I will say this: we never, as a community, as a culture, we never really needed that.
We didn't.
We always were sexual in our moves. We were always, even with our music. The writing for soca was very clever. We had a lot of sexual innuendos, double entendres.
100%.
If I can name all the double entendres in soca music, we'd be here all day. And now it's just like...
She like fuck too much.
Yeah, she like fuck. She like fuck too much. Mount a fuck to the condom, but like what?
It's very easy.
We're turning into dance hall. And I'm like, dude, let the Jamaicans do what they do. Like, they innovated that sexual, overtly sexual shit. Let them have it. Like, can we get back to basics? Can we get back to songs? Like, I know this is a new song, but I want to hear more songs like Engine Room. I ain't gonna hold you. Like, I want to hear that. Like, I want to hear Runaway. I want to hear more of those. I don't want to hear, what's the shit I heard the other day? Push your hand in your pussy and push it in my mouth. I don't want to hear that. Like, I'm sorry. I'll listen to dancehall if I want to hear that. How do you dance to that now?
I don't know. That's why I don't felt like that no more. Like, it don't, at the end of the day, and I will say this, it don't feel, there's no feel to it anymore.
No, it's soulless.
I don't enjoy going to fest anymore because it just doesn't feel like it's a place where I can be like happy. It just feels like it's a lot of sex, and it feels like the Americans are kind of right. That's what it's feeling like. It's feeling like the Americans.
You feel like the music is making the American narrative more correct.
It's creating
It's creating the narrative.
Exactly.
For it. Okay.
And which is really sad because it's not really who we are. So for that to happen, it's really really sad. And I know we could do better as Caribbean people, big time.
Oh, God, we
can. I'm not just talking about Trinidad. I think that St. Vincent can do it. I think St. Lucia can do it. I think all these artists can do it. Barbados is a big one that they really kind of at one point was really the focal point for soca for a little bit. But yeah,
relax.
I think so.
Barbados is number 2. Cropover is 2.
Cropover is 2 in terms
I'm
of
soca. I'm talking about in soca. Like there was one year recently that I will say that a lot of their stuff was.
Bajans make amazing soca.
They do.
Yeah,
they do.
It's just everything is over sexualized. I
can actually name a couple. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's just over sexualized.
Bajans are number 2 for soca.
Is just over sexualized, and it's really sad because we can do so much better.
Yeah,
we really can.
I just want to go back to just the violence though. Like, my father has a boat ride every year. It's called White with a Touch of Africa, and he can't even have the boat ride this year because of an incident that happened at another boat ride, another fete. Y'all don't know how to fucking act. Like, y'all in a boat, y'all on water, bro.
Yeah,
water.
These young niggas ruin it for all. I will say, like, and then I will say this: it's tough for people in their 30s to experience a fete where it's not too young or too old.
I agree with that.
There's no middle ground for us. We really got to work on that. Like, we really do. There's no middle ground for us right now because either it's really wild and ridiculous.
But when we were, and I hate to sound like a back in my day type of bitch, but back in my day when we were in our 20s, it wasn't like that. We wasn't wilding like that.
No, it wasn't that crazy.
We was wilding, but my God.
The people, I think nowadays people just really don't know how to hold their liquor. People have a lot of repressed emotions. And all that comes right out in the fete off of the littlest incident. But hey.
Yeah, that's the time. We as a community, we all have to do better. We really do. With that being said, I'd like to thank my co-hosts Ebony and Kevin. Again, Ebony, it's always lovely to have you back.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
We've missed you. Well, Kevin missed you. Yeah. At least.
Don't do that.
You know, once the camera start...
Anyway, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on Instagram. Check us out on TikTok. Check us out on YouTube. Get our subscribers up. We're really working this year, guys. We're really trying to give you guys as much content as possible. Definitely, please leave your comments, please, as well. Any way that we can improve to get better, I would love to hear it. Don't just sell us some bullshit about, well, this is a problem. Nigga, come with solutions. Because with us, we believe that we can tell a problem, but we love to hear solutions.
Yeah.
We love it.
We're open to your criticism.
Exactly. But don't just say something and then don't have no solution for it. Like, Help us, nigga. Help us, nigga. Nigga. All right. With that being said, I've been your host Rasan alongside my co-host Kevin and Ebony, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye, you guys.